Good evening, everyone. I'm here to respond to the claim that as an alternative fuel, electricity is more efficient and viable than hydrogen. My opponent's secondary claims are: 1, electricity can be generated in many ways. While generating coal would still result in carbon dioxide, there are more environmentally friendly ways that can be implemented. Claim number 2 was electricity does not require dangerous or expensive transportation methods. Number 3 was electricity is efficient and viable. Number 4 was electricity is available now. Now, I'm not here to refute directly the secondary claim, but in response to challenge the evidence for each claim. Now, I wanted to respond under the secondary claim 1. My opponent stated hydrogen currently produced through fossil fuels. Hydrogen currently produced through fossil fuels produces more carbon dioxide than a typical gasoline car. Now, this statement I don't believe is completely clear, whereas a hydrogen-powered car only emits water instead of any carbon dioxide, which makes the claim a little vague to what is really stated. The second supporting statement that he proved was inefficiencies in hydrogen make it a much less environmentally friendly method, even with renewable energy. Now, as reported in an article from Cars Direct, a hydrogen-powered vehicle can produce about 60 miles per kilogram of hydrogen, as measured on the Honda FXC Clarity, which is a hydrogen car in production right now, as compared to a Toyota Prius, a hybrid vehicle, which runs on electricity and gas, which gives about 45 to 50 miles per gallon, and a regular gasoline-powered vehicle can range from 17 miles per gallon to up to 27 miles per gallon. So then again, a hydrogen-powered vehicle can give you more mileage and is more efficient than any gasoline-powered or electric/gasoline-powered car. Now, under secondary claim 2, my opponent stated electricity can be generated in many ways and can be sent to consumers via an already existing infrastructure. And this is a flaw to the claim since there is no direct infrastructure for charging stations. As stated in the article in an article in the Scientific American webpage, there are relatively few recharging stations in place across the United States at this time, with only the state of California having more than 400 and most states having none. So again, there is no really direct infrastructure developed in the United States because of the fact that only California has over 400 charging stations throughout the whole state, which it wouldn't be enough to charge most cars running here. Now, a second statement that my opponent stated, claim that for claim 3, my opponent stated electricity use via batteries has long been a viable solution to fossil fuels ever since the inception of batteries. Now, this reasoning is relatively false, since the production of a battery for a vehicle ranges from over $15,000 for Chevy Volt and up to $30,000 for the Tesla Model S electric sports car, as reported by Cheryl Alexander in 2009 on Metropolis.com. Now, again, this diminishes the point said that electricity is via batteries long been viable because of the fact that it's so expensive, and I don't believe people would be purchasing so much just for a battery, whereas you can get up to $3 to $4 per gallon of gasoline. Now, also I want to say another statement that my opponent stated was electricity goes from the production plants directly into your outlet and into your car. Now, this claim is again flawed, since not all plug-in vehicles come in a standard 120-volt plug, and due to the fact that they require substantially a large amount to recharge, most electric vehicles will come in about 220-volt plugs, and because of that, most households would have to change their plugs and would be a larger cost to them. Now, in response to his secondary claim 4, he stated, hydrogen still has many decades left in order for it to become viable, if ever. Now, this is a false claim. As said by Greg Blanco, who is the CEO of Hydrogen Discoveries Incorporated, hydrogen vehicles are almost ready and will be sold at dealerships beginning in 2014 or 2015, which was asked in an interview by Cheryl Alexander of Metropolis.com. Now, again, this is a false claim that he stated because of the fact that we have proof that hydrogen vehicles will begin to be produced in about 3 or 4 years. Now, another statement that my opponent stated was in 2010, charging a car like the Nissan Leaf via quick charging stations can already be done in less than 30 minutes. Alternatively, cars like the Tesla Model S can swap out fully charged batteries in under 5 minutes. Now, the reasoning behind the claim that charging stations can be done in less than 30 minutes is false. Since in 2010, like I referred earlier today, there are less than 500 charging stations in all over the state of California, which would make it difficult to find a charging station in a street corner. And also, in reference to a previous statement that I made before, the price of a Tesla battery ranges around $30,000, and the vehicle itself, as reported by Sebastian Blanco on Autoblog.com, has an anticipated base price of $57,400. Now, I wouldn't believe a person to spend over $80,000 to have the purchase of a car and a replacement battery as compared to having a regular gasoline car for starting maybe $12,000, $14,000. And again, like I said, most of these statements made by my opponent diminish the main claim of as an alternative fuel, electricity is more efficient and viable than a hydrogen vehicle. Thank you.
All right, at the beginning I thought the structure was pretty well laid out, but during the course of the speech your internal signposting was not as consistent, and I thought it got a little bit confusing. That whole first section seemed to run together. The discussion about the emissions on hydrogen vehicles, I'm not exactly sure how that applied to the claim that the advocate was presenting on that point, and that needed to be a little bit clearer. The mileage on the three types of cars was explained reasonably well. I'm not sure why the internal combustion engine cars were included in your comparison, since the advocate seemed to be setting up a conflict or a contrast between electric vehicles and hydrogen-fueled vehicles. So I think maybe sometimes those things were a little bit of a distraction from the argument that you were presenting. The problem with the charging stations I thought was an interesting one, suggesting a variation or a difficulty. One thing that you do leave out, though, is the complexity of creating a infrastructure for hydrogen-fueled cars as well, and I thought that that's one of those glaring things. That's a rebuttal issue that's sitting in the front of our head going, okay, he's dissing the electrical vehicle charging station thing, but where are we going to get hydrogen fuel? How's it going to be delivered? All those kinds of things, and you never really talk about that. So I think it's important to make the charging station argument, but I think you do need to give it a little bit more context. The cost issue I thought was really well developed when you say it's more efficient and viable, and you're talking about cost issues. I thought you did a very good job on that particular point. All right.